Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. It's 4th Friday, hosted by the lovely and talented Lisa of Our Grey House and Sarah of Jujubee DIY. This month, it's all about Christmas. I've got some snowmen for you. My first project is a vintage-inspired knee hugger. Let's get into it. I'll flatten some Model Magic clay between some wax paper using my brayer. Once I have it nice and thin, I'll cover a 2.5-inch styrofoam ball with the clay. I just work the clay into the ball with my fingers and I'll pull off any excess. I really press it in there to make sure that it's well adhered to the styrofoam. To smooth it out, I roll it around on the table. To make his hat, I have the top of a styrofoam cone. This is just a scrap piece. I always keep all of my scrap styrofoam. And I'll cover this with the Model Magic too. I'm just going to wrap that right along the side of the cone. I cut away any excess. And again, rolling it to smooth it. I cut a circle of clay to cover the top of his hat. I'm pressing it to make sure it's well stuck. I want this to look like snow, so I'm going to let it overhang a wee bit. I've cut a second circle for the brim, and I'm going to flatten that out even more to make it a wee bit larger. I'll press that into place, and I'll shape it a wee bit. I'm going to use a toothpick to attach his hat to his head. I roll a paintbrush handle over the clay to incorporate the clay on the hat with the brim. I cut a small ball of clay in half for his cheeks, and I'll press them into place, shaping them as I press. I like working with this clay. It's much lighter than typical air-dry clay, and there aren't nearly as many cracks. I roll another small ball for his nose. And 2 more balls for his earmuffs. I think it's so funny that snowmen wear earmuffs and scarves. Cracks me up. I push a piece of dowel into the bottom of his head for his neck, wrapping it in clay also, making sure it's connected to the clay on the bottom of his head. This doesn't have to be pretty. We won't see it once he's assembled. While his head dries, I'll work on his body. So the pattern for his body, they're just rectangles, which I trace onto the felt, and I'll cut them out. I made the legs 11 inches, and the arms are 7 inches, but I'm going to cut them in half after I sew them. And the body portion is 2.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. I'll put the dimensions in the description box for you. I fold the body in half and cut an X in the center of the fold. This is the opening for his head. I fold the arms and legs in half lengthwise and pin. I'll slightly curve my stitch at one end of the arms and the legs and continue with a straight stitch the length of the felt. The presser foot is right at the edge of the felt so that my stitch is as close to the edge as possible. I clipped the corners and then turned them right side out, which, may I tell you, was a test of patience and fortitude. I used a chopstick and forceps to turn them. Usually it's not an issue, but I think the combo of the length, the narrowness, and the fuzziness of the felt made this task a bear. It's fine, just took longer than I thought. I made a collar by folding a piece of red felt in half, tracing and cutting out like a star shape at the fold, and cutting an X into it there at the center of the fold too. And that's so I can slip it over his neck. I slide chenille stems into his legs. I've cut them so they're about an inch shorter than the leg, and I'm going to push them all the way down. I want the free space at the top so that the stem isn't in the way when I stitch the legs to the body. I line the raw edge of the legs to the edge of the body in the center, and I pin them. And I stitch them in place. I push the legs through the X. Fold the felt in half, pin it, and straight stitch the bottom. I push the arms through the X, aligning the raw edge of the arm with the edge of the body, pinning them in place, and straight stitch the sides closed. Once again, my presser foot is lined right up against the edge of my felt. Now we'll flip it over and do the other side. You just want to make sure that you're catching the arms in this stitch. I gently pull on the arms and legs to turn the body right side out. There we go. And I'm going to set that aside to finish his head. I paint his head with 2 coats of white. His hat gets 2 coats of Tahiti blue. Doing my best to avoid that snow on the top of his hat. And for my friend Terry, I dipped out his eyes with Hippo Gray. It's her favorite color. I dry brush his cheeks with Sunkissed Coral, and his nose, earmuffs, and mouth will all be watermelon. I'm using a liner brush for his mouth. His brows and lashes are Hippo. His eyes and cheeks get white dot highlights. I give his head a good coat of Mod Podge using a cosmetic sponge. I apply a coat of Snow Tex to the snow on the top of his hat, and then I'll give it a shake of Glamour Dust, add a little sparkle. I stuff his body firmly with Polyfill. I'm using the chopstick to make sure that I get that Polyfill right down into the very corners. His body gets Tahiti blue polka dots. I polka dot his legs and arms too. I trim his collar with baker string. And I'm going to do a basting stitch on the flaps of the X at the top of his body. This is so we'll be able to cinch that closed once his head goes in. I slide his collar onto his neck, and I coat the bottom of the dowel with fabric glue, and I'll push it into the body. Now I'll gently pull on that thread to cinch it around the dowel, and I'm going to add a few more stitches before tying it off. I did tack down the front and back of his collar to the body with fabric glue too. I glue his hands together, forming a loop. To give him some cuffs, I glue some red felt over where his hands connect, and this hides that nicely. And looks cute too. I embellish his cuffs with baker string to match his collar. I'll bend his legs up and slip his arms over them so that they're nice and snug. To give his collar a more finished look, I wrap a red metallic pipe cleaner around his neck. And that's it. He's done. I love him so much. I was so worried that he wouldn't sit up, but he sits perfectly. I hope you like him too. DIY number 2, Snowman ornament. So I'm going to paint this Laughing Cow cheese box with white acrylic paint. And I paint the edge with Tahiti blue, including the raised ridge on the surface. Now this will be double-sided, so everything I do on the front, I'll repeat on the back too. There's a slit in the box, so I'll thread some baker string through as a hanger. And I'm going to glue the lid onto the box. I made a stencil from cardstock for his cheeks, and I'm just pantsing with watermelon. His eyes, brows, and lashes are Hippo. And a wee curved line in watermelon for his mouth. I shade around his face with Tropic Bay. White dot highlights for his eyes and cheeks. And I'm going to put 3 Tropic Bay dots down here for kicks. I gave them white highlights too. I made some crepe paper festooning in my color palette, and I'm going to glue it right around the edge. I'll link my video that shows you how to make the festooning. And for his nose, I'm going to glue a glitter ball from the Dollar Tree bowl fillers right in the center of his face. I think he's so much fun. I hope you liked today's project. I love them. Thank you Lisa and Sarah for hosting. Their channels are linked in the description box, as well as the playlist and my supply list. Please be sure to check them out for more fun Christmas DIYs. Also, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. I hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving and have a fun-filled weekend. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Monica.